Either you're a marketer and you're really good at selling courses that most people don't complete, right? Or you want to really people to learn. You want to share your expertise. And if you do, then you have to make sure that you give them again an experience and the support and the accountability that they need in order to not give up, be consistent, have the discipline to come back and do the work and get the result.
Yeah, this is definitely something that I wanted to touch on, the idea of validating the idea before you really even start turning on the camera or writing content. You want to validate the idea. So tell us how we can, some different ways that we can start validating if this idea is going to have any traction at all.
The way we use AI now inside programs is we use it as an accelerator of results for clients. So let me just give you an example you're going to see right away.
Natalie Dormew is the co-founder of the Membership Lab and has 10 plus years of experience helping coaches and course creators design high retention programs that drive real results. In 2025, she launched Podcast Lead Flow, a system that turns podcast episodes, solo or interviews, into high-quality leads using smart automations and AI. In this episode, we talk about how to validate before you create any course or membership. Natalie goes into why it is vital to create an experience, not just another course, and gives you working strategies to put accountability and connection into action for your clients. If you're thinking about launching a membership, course, or you already have one that's not gaining traction and you want to do it right, this episode is for you. Enjoy the show. Natalie, I am so excited for this conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brian. I'm excited about this conversation. So,
Absolutely, me as well. So let's just dive right in. What got you started in the education space?
I've been in business since 2005, as you said. We run a family business with my husband, and our background is in software engineering. That's what we were doing when we were back in the US. So we started quite naturally when we started our business building software. And of course, we built software, but we didn't do any marketing, any sales, and we thought because it was amazing, it would sell. And that didn't happen. So we hired a coach. And the coach, a US coach, a coach from the US. And one of the things that he told us is really to look at the online space, right? And one thing that we identify rather quickly, and it's through really an opportunity of someone that I met, um, and to be exposed to be able to do our first online course website. So not just a website, an online course. And then we had this realization that there was a problem with the e-learning. Is that we wanted to create a better experience than what the tools were providing. So kind of naturally we were like, well, that's something that we could specialize in because there are so many people that do websites, but people actually do online courses. And then membership is a whole new story because it's the recurring model that really attracted me, right? But what we saw is that in the e-learning space, there was a need for tools and people that really pay more attention to the experience and helping people get results. A lot of people, when they sell courses, or like, I have a successful course, that means I'm making money with my course. It's never I have a successful course because 90% of the people complete the course and get result. Because guess what? They don't even know. That's not what they measure,
Right.
right? So we were like, what can we do as software engineers? That's our background when we create this platform to improve the e-learning, right? And my husband, who is doing all the backend stuff and creating these custom tools, really got into really improving e-learning, making it easier for people to find what they are looking for, giving them accountability, and try to not replicate because we can't, but provide some of the features that we have when we are in a classroom. You can ask a question right away. You can take notes. You can, you can interact with others, right? So it's very different. So that's really what got us into is that first website where we were asked, can you do it? And then we were like, well, we want to do more of this because there is a definitely a need for that. And so many people do just, regular websites. So that's going to be our niche, basically.
No, that makes perfect sense, and I think that was a smart decision because I've got a membership to Udemy. I've actually put up courses before through other tools, and yeah, like you were saying, it's basically just a completion model. Like if you complete it, well, congratulations, here's your digital certificate, and now you're certified, quote unquote, certified, right?
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
want to, I'm like I said, I'm excited for this. I definitely want to dive into all of these elements that make, your service above and beyond the rest that's out there. But first, I want to address something that might be on people's minds who are thinking about doing this, especially in the course creation side. Is this industry saturated? Like, is there room for new people to get in and do this and be successful?
So, I mean, there will always be a space for e-learning because e-learning is the opportunity to reach and have such a big impact online, right? What has changed is that now people are less, don't buy courses as easily as they used to, when they say, but you can buy the course and you have forever access, so don't worry about it. If you can't do it right now, you have access forever, right? We know where that goes, right? It's being shelved and you never do it. So what is happening right now, what has been happening like since, after COVID, like, and we start to see it with AI, is that people want more than just content. They want the support, they want the accountability. So a course the traditional way, like the Teachable, the Thinkific, the Udemy, all that stuff, that only like 3 to 5% of people actually complete. So it's like an iceberg, right? You see these people that complete, and then but most people don't, right? So either you're a marketer and you're really good at selling courses that most people don't complete, right? Or you want to really people to learn, you want to share your expertise, and if you do, then you have to make sure that you give them again an experience and the support and the accountability that they need in order to not give up, be consistent, have the discipline to come back and do the work and get the result.
Mm.
So there is still space, but you have to be more specific, more specialized. You can call it niche, but more specialized. And then you have to have the interactive part, right? Because self-study courses, they pretty much don't work, right? Most people don't complete videos that they buy, and unless it's something like super specific, right? Like you watch a video and then you've learned something, you can apply it. But like if it requires you know uh, making decisions, and people are not exactly sure, like how this applies to them and things like that, and if they don't have a place to ask for support or be around other people that are doing it at the same time, they might give up.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And that's something that I wanted to dive into next, which is the components, let's say, of what makes a membership site or a course creation site. What makes those sites successful? What have you seen?
Mhm. Yeah. So, I mean, first, like we have to define what success is because success is different for
I'm glad you
people,
said that, but
right?
yes.
Because again, for people selling courses, success is the money that they make. For the membership, success is my people are staying, right? They stay, they don't quit, so I get the recurring income. But if we talk in terms of success by it is helping people, it is working, so people are signing up, like I am able to attract the right people, this is a problem that they have, I have a solution, I can help them through it, and they are getting the result and they are sharing it with others, so I do get testimonials and case studies. To me, that's like one level of success, right? What I'm doing is actually working, right?
Yeah.
So basically the key, and I think like this is probably where most online courses and membership fail, is that they haven't really validated their idea before they launched it. So because you have an expertise, right? You have people that say you can monetize your passion, right? You can monetize your expertise, turn it into a course and sell it. Well, that is great, but you're going to have to find a specific angle, and you're going to have to find out who it is really, because it needs to be something that they really, really want. So you have to meet them at their level of awareness of the problem and see your course or membership as a potential solution. And very often, what we're seeing is, oh, I am an expert, I know these things. Let me record a bunch of videos because I know what they need, turn that into a course, and then suddenly they're like, here is my course, and nobody
Mm.
buys, right? And they don't understand why. And maybe the content is amazing, but they never validated the idea, right? Maybe their messaging is wrong. Unfortunately, we are all salespeople. You can have the best course content. We have to be marketers first, which is hard, because especially for people that want to help, right? So they want to focus on helping people go through the course, shooting videos, doing the curriculum and things like that. But the reality, this doesn't matter if you don't know how to market it and sell it. So you hire it out if you want, right? Or you have to roll up your sleeves and put on your marketer hat before you record a single video. And that's the part where people sometimes give up, and they are not willing to do that.
So, yeah, this is definitely something that I wanted to touch on, the idea of validating the idea before you really even start turning on the camera or writing content. You want to validate the
Yeah.
idea. So, tell us how we can, some different ways that we can start validating if this idea is going to have any traction at all.
Yeah. So there is one thing that I like for people that come to me, especially for a membership, the context of a membership is people pay you every month, right? So if you launch a membership, you're making a commitment, right? And that is scary for people. So whether you want to start a membership or an online course, the way you validate it is actually quite simple. I didn't say it was easy, it's simple, right? You create what we call hand raisers. So you start creating content and you get people to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested. So it could go something like that. Hey, I'm thinking of creating a course for people that want to learn how to paint watercolor, and I've been doing this for 20 years, and I would really love to create like a community and teach people, like the beginners, the one that like never start because they don't even know where to start. If you're interested, let me know and I can put you on an interest list, and you gauge interest like that. So the first thing that it's going to do is that it's going to help you identify if the audience that knows you is interested in that.
Mm.
If they're like, yes, because maybe they know I do watercolor painting, and they're like, yes, I would love that. So then you see there is interest, right? But if you hear crickets, then you have to make a decision here, because if you can't get them to say I'm interested for free, how do you expect them to pay later?
Now,
It's not
how
gonna
many
work.
times should you put those feelers out? Could you just post once and that's it? If you don't get anything, that means it's not good.
Do you know anything where you just do it once and cross fingers? No, you have to do it like you're interviewed on podcasts, you're doing on social media, on events. You go out to your friends and say, hey, I'm doing this, like, can you mention this? Like, you have to. So here is the thing. What's really important is that you have to pick an idea that really aligns with who you are and your vision and what you want to do. And the reason you want to do this is because you're going to have to go and open doors, and people are going to say no, and like you're really going to have to do things that might be uncomfortable, and we are more likely to do it when we are passionate about it and really really want to do it, right? So like, I want to do this. So if somebody says no, I'm going to, like a child that really wants something, mom says no, I'm going to go see dad, like I really want it, right? And so the first thing is really to pick something you're excited about, because if you're not excited about, how do you expect others to be excited about? Two is you have to get out of your comfort zone and reach out to people. First, the people that you know, your friends, business friends. If you go to events, if you on social media, if you have connections and things like that, get interviewed on podcasts. Start talking about it, right? Because this is something that's going to be required. You're going to have to build an audience, right? So if you get to that and you see people are raising their hand and like, wow, it sounds like people might like that I do that, right? So then so you start to build that interest list. Now the second thing that you want to do is you want to get into co-creation with them. So you want to have some type of collaboration. So then once you have this list, you can say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. So if it's a course, I think maybe it's going to be like 8 weeks and we're going to have a call a week. And then, like maybe you break it down and then you ask them, what would you like to see in them? Like what specifically, would you want to have inside you? Are you interested in having a community and being able to talk to each other? Or do you just want to learn? Do you want some optional access to me? What would that look like? And what you're doing is you're then creating something that works for them and works for you, right?
Right.
Once you have that, and once your interest list starts to be a size, that you're happy with, and we can talk about numbers afterwards, I'll share with you some numbers, then what you can do is you can launch it to them. So you launch kind of like a pilot, whether this is a course or a membership. You launch a pilot to them and say, for example, you have a certain price in your head. You give them access at 50%, for example. So you say, when I'm selling this, and it's already, I haven't recorded anything, right? We don't have a portal, we have nothing, right? But when it's all ready, that will be the price point. And for you, if you join now before it's built, that's called sell it before you build it, right? Then you'll get it at 50%, and together we're going to build this thing. So we're going to start easy, maybe doing some Zoom calls and things like that. But by, like in 3 weeks, we'll have something. Because that's the second level of validation, is now you have people that raise their hand, but do you think 100% of the list is going to join?
No.
So people are going to say, well, that sounds interesting, but like not right now, not this month, because I have this or I have that. But I can tell you, some of my clients, they convert 47%, 50%, 50 of people on the interest list to paying members. So you don't need such a big list. And I also tell people, which is something people don't necessarily realize, and sometimes that's why they don't even start. The first time you launch, it's not about the money. It cannot be about the money. It's about getting the right people. Would you rather have 20 people that are your exact client that can really give you feedback? Or would you have 200 people where there are people that will never log in because they bought it, but like they already forgot, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to deal with 200 people. So smaller group, more intimate, but the right people, right? So it's less overwhelming as well. And it's not about the money, it's about getting the right first people. So you have a solid foundation. And even the course, I tell people, I did that for my last one, is I recorded it live. So you don't even have to pre-record videos. Is you record it live after weeks. So what happens is you can adjust, right?
Yeah. Right. And it's a way to,
Week after week, and you're like, I'm doing it maybe it's too long, right? Or maybe I need to break this down, like things like that, right? Because we have the expertise, but then we have to meet people with how they are learning, and how they are behaving, right, on the, during their life, of course.
Yeah, and that's part of the co-creation process that you were speaking of.
Yeah.
You're
Mhm.
building the course and actually the content of the course within those Zoom calls that you're doing when you're doing the coaching or consulting, masterminding, whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I really want to hone in on this point that you made and highlight it about finding the right people and not focusing on the money at first, because so many people, so many entrepreneurs, obviously they're doing this to build it up, to support themselves, create a better life, whatever. So the money, it is important, yes, but focusing on the people first, the money will come later, because if you focus on the right people and those people get results, then you have evangelists who will go out and spread your name and your good work. They'll do it for free and they'll bring more people to you. And that
Yeah.
is the word of mouth, and that's how things really build. Would you agree?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's so, I think it's so underrated. People don't, and when I ask, because I talk to people all the time, and when I ask people that have online courses, they're not even measuring, they're not even asking people, if they've completed, if they got the result, if they did the thing that they learned, right? So they don't even know. But like you said, when you have a happy client, you have a case, you have a testimonial, you can have a case study, you can use it for your marketing, right? They can recommend you, they can buy more from you. So I mean, this is part of growing a business. It's not just always getting more people, but it's also making sure that you maximize the customer lifetime value, right? Once you have somebody in, and if you keep helping them, they have no reason to go to someone else.
Right, right. You want to focus on making this relationship based versus transactional.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So we've touched on obviously some of the great things that make these sites successful. So now I want to go to the inverse of that. What have you seen that makes these sites unsuccessful?
Mhm. So I would say probably the biggest one is the overwhelm that people might feel when getting into a platform and just not knowing what to do. So it's a bit different between a course and a membership. If we take the example of a membership where as time goes, you tend to add more content, right? And if you don't have a process for people to come into the membership and being able to find what they need based on where they're at, and then you keep releasing content, then and every week or every month you tell them, here is a new piece of content, here is a new piece of content, and you think that you give them value. Well, for some people this is stressful, because this is, oh my gosh, I'm paying for this thing, therefore I have to go watch it. And one of the reasons why people leave a membership is because they feel that they are not consuming what basically what they bought, right? um, so we have to change that. People need to not see it as a volume of content that they need to consume. They need to see it as knowledge and support and accountability to help them fix a problem or learn something, right? So what has not been working is the lack of, we call it like success path or journey, right, or process to guide people. That's what's been missing even for courses. One of the issues that we see with, so you have different type of courses, right? You have the course where they never talk to anyone, right? You buy it and then you have access to a course. It's self-study, right? The problem with these courses is that it really requires discipline, and most people are not. And you will see that on a certain market, somebody that is a beginner is going to need more accountability than somebody that is more advanced, right?
Right.
Like you'll see memberships where people pay 2,000, 3,000 a month. they don't need the accountability. They already are using they already got that part, right? But somebody that is more of a beginner, that can feel overwhelming, right? So I would say this is the overall experience that's really usually an issue, where people might just give up
Mm.
and not feel supported, or not knowing what to do, right? Like they're stuck, and they don't really have like an easy way to get the support, so they basically give up. I mean, how many people buy courses that they don't complete? Most people don't complete courses. Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah. I'm one of them. I'll raise my hand to that. I'm
Yeah,
not immune to this conversation.
yeah.
But
But there is also the thing, and we see this more with membership, is that sometimes people, like, I was on a podcast yesterday, and she was saying, well, I buy every time AppSumo puts in something, I buy
oh
it. I'm like,
god.
I'm not even going to AppSumo. I'm not even going there. This is shiny
Oh,
object.
100%. AppSumo is dangerous.
She's like, I'm not even looking at it. It's like, no, the way you want to look at it, that's why you want to get the right people, because how can you expect to get feedback if someone bought it because it was super cheap, and now they can shelve it, right? We want people that actually do our stuff. Of course, we want to make money, we want to sell as many, but if you really think about it, we really want people that can provide us the feedback and give us the testimonial, right? So that are going. So it needs to be a need, a priority.
Right.
So that's how you define. That's how I define if I buy a course or a program. Is, oh, that sounds interesting. Okay, that's my goal. Is it helping me get to my goal faster? Yes. Okay, I might consider it. No, I'll
Okay,
pass.
so this
It will come back to me. If the universe wants me to buy it, it will come back at some point.
yeah, that's kind of I understand that from the client side, the person that's window shopping, but you made me think of something pretty interesting here. So I'm wondering if you've ever done this or taught people this. The idea of kind of talking people out of buying the course if they're not going to be the right fit. Because, like you said, if this doesn't help you achieve your goals right now that you're working on, then you shouldn't buy it, right? So, how do you help people understand if this course or this membership helps them with their goals so they opt in?
You have the courses where you don't buy, people buy through a funnel, and you never talk to them, right? So these people will just buy and buy, right? But then you have courses where you actually talk to people, right? So the example, what I can tell you, what I did when I launched First Member the first time, it was by application. And I said, I only take 20 people, and it needs to be a priority. So you need to commit to show up. Is that something like, do you have planned that you want to launch a membership? Because it's not like you buy and then you'll watch it later. I want you to participate. And that's how I chose people, based on that.
Mm,
So I mean, you can't really do that for all your launches, right?
right.
Like, people want to make money, you want to sell as many. I get that. But I think it's part of your messaging. It's saying, like, if that's what you want to do, right, then come join us. Like, if you're ready to make it happen, if you're committed, right? And there are people that say, don't come, I don't want your money. You don't want people to ask for a refund 2 months later, because they never logged in, because they don't have time, right? So it's a difficult balance. I was talking with my coach. That's funny, because when was it, Monday? Maybe that was Monday. And it was like, I'm too much on the, you care so much, you only want people that want the result. Remember, we run a business, we need to make money. So you have to find that balance, basically. But I think this is like in your message, right? When you launch, where you're like, hey, like, if you're ready to do this, then I'd love to have you. And then it's for people to decide if they buy or if they don't buy, right? But especially at the beginning, when you're testing, it makes sense, right, that you have people that actually really want to do this.
Mm.
So for a pilot, I mean, I would say every time I've done it, it's been by application. And one of the thing is I am committed and I have the time, and it's a priority to me. And if it's not, then I don't take them for the pilot because I want someone to show that will show up.
Right. Right. And I think that's really interesting, the fact that you did an application for a course. And that's perfect because you're right. You want people that are invested and that want to be in and build it now. And kind of a done with you type of situation, if you will. I think another way that people could do it is by doing, and I think you kind of alluded to this, like a pre acceptance interview. A quick like 15-minute Zoom call or something where the creator can hop on and just have a chat and see, hey, is this going to
Yeah.
work for
Yeah.
you? Because I don't want to waste your time or your money, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when we start when we grow a business, we want to do things that are scalable, right? Having an online course or a membership, it's a scalable business. But we have to be willing to do certain things that are not so scalable to build a stronger foundation. And maybe having those goals is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it goes, again, it just goes right back to the conversation about finding the right people.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting the message out, so let's say that we've validated the idea. This course is going to sell. People have raised their hands. Some of them have put those pre deposits down. How does marketing factor into your service, what you do? Like, how do you help people start really getting the word out about these things and find more of those right people?
Mhm. So where I come in, so I don't help people build their audience. That's not my expertise. So where I come in is when people have identified that there is an audience that they wanted. What I help them with is create an experience, like because they have their knowledge, right? They have their system, their expertise, right? And I help them unpack that and turn that into an online program that's actually engaging, right? Where we break it down in such a way that people see milestones and they see progress, right? So that they keep going, right? And we add tools. So that's why sometimes we use AI for that and things like that. So that's where I come in. Instead of them growing the audience, that's a marketing strategy. That's not something that I help them with. It's, I am in the e-learning. I have identified and I want to create a program that actually people will recommend and won't want to leave.
Right, right. You help from the marketing aspect of creating a great user experience for going through the
Yeah,
course. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So I got them through the pilot, right? To the pilot. So just to give you like, because usually the people that come to me might have an existing business or an audience, or they have an offer. They already have an offer. Maybe it's a high ticket or something, right? And they are looking to add a new product, whether that's a course or a membership, to their existing business, right? And one of the things that I help them identify is where does it fit in their existing business ecosystem, right? Because so you have this higher ticket, say you have like a 5,000 package and your audience loves you, but they don't really buy this. It's hard. Can we create something that's a lower price point, right? Because you have that audience that helps fill the gap so that some of them will be ready for the 5,000, right? So I help with strategy in that sense. And I also help them create an offer that I call irresistible, which is, making sure that, it touches all the how unique it is, the in terms of the price points, bonuses, and just making something that if that's the problem that they have, they're like, I have to at least consider this solution, right? So without going into too much detail, like basically this is what I help them with. That's part of the pilot. So you have the pilot offer, right? And then there is the other offer, once you validated the pilot and you really launch it to more people. Um, so that's basically where we come in. But in terms of like marketing, are you going to do Facebook ads? Are you going to have partners? Things like that. This is not something that we help people with.
Got it. Yeah. So obviously within any
Mhm.
business, you want to have your niche, you want to know what your strengths are, and you don't want to try to
Exactly. Yeah.
play outside of those and then just muddy the waters. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
let's talk
Exactly.
about what you've built and this system and these tools to really help create that fantastic user experience. And I'm and reading on your site, I'm guessing that's what Access Alley is the maybe the suite of tools that you've created. Is that right?
No, so AccessAlly is just a tool. It's a membership plugin that we used sometime. So it's just one of the tools to make things happen. It's a membership plugin. So basically, it takes payments. It has some type of progress tracking, certifications, and things like that, right? So it's the tech tool to make the thing happen. But before we choose the tools, because very often those are the two questions that people ask: how much content do I need to create? What is the best tool? And I'm like, it's like asking what's the best car. It's like, what are you trying to do?
Right. Right.
Right? So let's find what it needs to do and then let's pick the tool to make it happen. Right? So really what we look at, when we get started is, um, what are the features that you're going to need, right? In terms of how you're going to take payment, what kind of progress tracking do you want? What kind of content do you want to put there? Videos, audios, PDFs. Now, do you want to integrate AI or not, right?
Mm.
Do you want to have affiliates, people that can recommend you, have, commissions automatically? You receive commissions, right? So like do you want a community that's integrated? Like it has to be with the content, right? So we look at all of these, and then based on that, then we will pick a set of tools to make it happen, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And I noticed that you primarily use WordPress to do this and to
Mm-hmm.
build on. And just again, because a lot of entrepreneurs have seen this and know the buzz around it. So why WordPress and not High Level?
Okay, I can tell you. So, in high level or anything else, Kajabi or anything, right? So, high level, just so you know, I have a client that is quite big and is getting really, really bad email deliverability issues, right? So, but that could be all his case. So, I am pro WordPress because I like to own my stuff and not build my business on rented land, like on a tool, right? I like WordPress because it's fully customizable. So if I want to add something, I can just develop it, because we're software engineers, so we build plugins all the time if we need it,
Right.
right? That being said, there is nothing wrong with using high level. Lots of people make a lot of money with it. Same thing with Teachable, Learn Worlds, Newlands, New Zenler, Podia. I mean, I could give you 50 names, right?
Right.
What is important is you have two schools. I tell people, like, you have two schools. Either you pick a tool, like say high level, for example, right? And then you build your business around it. So you look at what can I do in terms of online course, progress tracking, and things like that. And you build it with the features that it has. That way you get the most out of the tool that you've chosen. That's one way to do it. And you won't get disappointed, right?
Right.
Because you built it around it. Or you're like, let me create something like what I really, really want, and then let's build it, because the chance that a tool can do it, it's probably not likely, especially when they start working with me and we talk about some really cool things, and then they're like, well, it's only going to happen on WordPress. So those are the two schools, right? And there is no right or wrong. But if you use something like high level or a Kajabi or a Teachable or Thinkific, whatever, then you better make sure that you have a place where you can have that support and accountability, because that is not going to be on that portal. It's just not, right? So you have to do it somewhere else. Like there has to be, right? It's that overall experience from the onboarding to keeping track of their progress, reminding them, you know, of their wins, but also what was their goal that they've set, you know, in the last 90 days and things like that. So it's that's really how I see it. You know, it's really those two schools, and there is no right or wrong. It's just that I help people. We want to design a program first and then make it happen. Whether they hire us or they go somewhere else, but at least they have a clear idea of what the program is going to look like.
Right. And you mentioned again the word accountability, and I wanted to touch on that because obviously with that comes checking in and making sure they're on task, making sure they're getting the results at each level that they need to get. And
Mhm.
obviously that's very important from the consumer side, but it can be overwhelming for the entrepreneur side to fulfill all that accountability. So what are some ways that you have developed, or like what are you doing to make that more systematized and less overwhelming for the entrepreneur?
When you build these platforms, you want to make the platform itself scalable from day one, right? You could get 1,000 people and this will still work, right? So one of the ways we do accountability, in an automated way, right? There are different levels of accountability, but one of the ways is that on the portal, they can define what their goal is. And that goal is saved in a variable, if you will, that's also stored in your CRM. So every Monday, for example, I'm making this up, it could send you an email and say, this is your goal for the 90 days. How are we doing? What have you achieved this week? What got in the way? What are you focusing on next week? Right? And this is all automated. You could have it so that people can choose, I want a daily accountability or just give me a monthly accountability.
Mm,
And then when it's the quarterly, right? Every quarter, if you have a planning session for the quarter, right? Before there is a form that automatically goes out. These were your goals for the quarter. How did you do, right? Those can all be automated, not with every tool,
right.
but they can be automated, right? Now, there are other levels of accountability, like you can do accountability through a community, right? So it's one too many, but it's some type of accountability, right? So you can be asking people, you know, certain questions, and you can, you know, tag people. Um, you can have calls, you know, implementation calls. That's something that's very popular, where you tell people, well, we will book a time in the calendar, and then we'll come, and then everybody will decide on one thing they're going to work on, and everybody works like if we were in a co-working space, if you will, right? So you give them a time and space to be able to work together and just be accountable on doing one thing, right? So it's very popular. More and more people are using that. You can also have accountability buddies, right? So especially in mastermind and things like that, they do that, where you pair people in two or three, and then they can do daily check-ins, right? We do weekly, but some people want, they basically decide, right? So what are you going to work on today? Boom, 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 right? And it just text. We do weekly, but we do like a Zoom every Tuesday since 2018.
Nice, nice. And I
So,
love the fact
so
I love the fact, especially when we're talking about the automated side with those accountability emails, that you can let the user pick how often they want to be checked in with. Like that,
yeah,
that's that's beautiful. I've never
yeah.
heard that, but it's a great way to do it.
That's the power of automation.
Yes.
So basically, that's all part of the onboarding. That's one piece when people join a program that is very often overlooked. It's the onboarding piece. And sometimes for onboarding, we have a welcome video. Great. Everybody gets the welcome video, right? But especially for a membership during the onboarding, what makes sense is for you to gather some pieces of information about where they're at, so that you can show them, okay, why don't you get started with this piece of content to get them a quick win,
Mm,
right? So, and that information can be stored in terms of tags or inside variables, and then it can be in your CRM. So you can even use that information in your email automation. So like it can be like really super powerful. But that onboarding is it's really underused, and I know why, because when you're in Kajabi or stuff like that, you can do that. You can't, so they just don't do it, right? Or they do onboarding calls, right? So you go on a call at the beginning, it's one on one. And then when there is a lot of people, they do an onboarding every month. So you join a program and then you're going to be invited to the next onboarding call and they tell you about the platform, but it's very impersonal,
right.
uh, in my opinion. So yeah, so accountability means like so many different things. And if you can get people to choose how they want to interact with the platform, so it's that. So part of the onboarding is, do you want accountability? Do you want an accountability buddy? Yes. Oh, you automatically add it to a directory and you go, and there are all the people that are looking for accountability. And maybe you see in which country they are, in which state. So then you have the time zone, right? And you can reach out to them, right? And if you found one, then you take yourself out of the accountability directory.
Mm.
This is all automated. Then you say, I want it by email. I don't want a buddy, by email. And I want daily, weekly, monthly. But daily is a bit much, but weekly, monthly. And or I opt to get out of the accountability, right? So those are all things that we can automate, processes that we can put in place so that really people don't feel like just a number.
That's perfect. And again, just really helps underline the expertise that you have, the years of experience in doing this. And some of these things, guys, like if you're running your own site and you're trying to do this on your own, some of the things that we have discussed with Natalie today, implement into your own systems if you can, because it'll
Mhm.
just raise the bar of your user experience. So thank you for that, Natalie. And before we get before we get going today, I want to make sure that we touch on the topic of AI, because obviously it is the future. It is how the world of business is going to function from here on going forward. So how is AI integrating into what you do, into this world?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So actually, we've been integrating AI for 5 years now inside online programs. And that really started when, again, my husband saw a need. We have this client who is selling a courses for people to renovate houses. It's called Three Birds Renovations. They're really big in Australia. And they have like a course, right? Where you learn about, choosing painting and then tiles and things like that. So the way people consume content, that they go through the videos, right? But there is another way that people consume content is when they go and renovate, they want to be able to go back to a video, right? There was a video that mentioned something about tiles, right? And they have to remember, oh, that was module 6, lesson 11, right? So that was a problem. So we were like, so we used AI to create a search engine that would search on the video stream. So you could just type tile and it will show you all the videos that mention tile. And then you could say, oh, that's this one. So you can watch the video there. When you click, it plays the video right where it says tile. And if you like, that's the video, but there was a PDF that comes with it. You click, it goes to the lesson. Now you have the video, you have all the downloadables. So you can quickly go back. So you want to think about how are people going to use my content? They use it once when they learn, but then there is the implementation. So they need to be able to go back. So it's just to give you an idea of that was AI 5 years ago.
Right.
Okay. AI today, it has changed so much, right? It's made it available to a lot of people, not just developers, right? With ChatGPT and OpenAI and all the tools. And the way we use AI now inside programs is we use it as an accelerator of result for clients. So let me just give you an example you're going to see right
Yes,
away.
please.
You have a course, right? So say I'll tell you the example of my course. That's the easiest. It's called First Members, and people have to send an invitation to let people know that they want to start a membership. It's the hand raiser, they're going to build that interest list, right? So they have to write that email. Some people are going to write the email right away. Some people are going to be stuck, right? They're like, oh, what do I write? How do I start, right? So the old way was to give them a template and say, here is a template, fill in the blanks, right?
Right.
For the email to help, right? Well, now what you can do is you can have AI ask a couple of information, like what this is for, why do you want to do this, why are you so passionate about doing this. So it asks like 3 4 questions, and based on that it's going to craft an email that looks like them because it knows their tone of voice, because they've shared previous content that they've written, right? So it's going to look something that's much more something that they would be likely to write. So it's a great starting point. It's much better than the template, and they can run with that, tweak it a little bit, and just send it. So we are accelerating the fact that people are taking action and implementing, basically, right? Another one that we have is just the AI assistant. You have a program, you fill an AI assistant with all your videos, and they can just have a conversation with your content. Hey, how do I do this? And it will basically tell you, and then it will point you, oh, you can go and watch this video, that video. It's like having a support system that knows your program and that can send you back to the video or PDF that mentions the thing, right? So those are what I call accelerators, but they are only as good as the information you give it, the expertise that you feed it, right? We call it the knowledge base, and the quality of the prompt, of course, because prompt is a big part of the quality of the output, right?
Right.
So that those are like ways that we use AI, and we use AI to solve a problem. So say you have a course and you know that there is a step where people tend to get stuck. They have to write something or come up with something, and they're thinking and they're like, they get stuck. It's taking longer than you think it should. Is there an AI tool that we can create that can help them, ask them some questions to help them find the answer?
Mm.
So that's basically how we integrate AI.
I like it. I like how you're using it to solve a problem and not just make it a wide-ranging feature that everybody can use just as a like
Mm,
a way to bump up the price, so to speak.
exactly. It's that I was just talking AI with in a couple of podcasts in the past 2 weeks, and people were like, yeah, but there are like so many tools that come, you know all the time. How do you not watch them? So it's like AppSumo.
Right.
Do you need it? Then don't look at it, because you could spend all day on it.
Yep.
It's like, focus, like if you look at AI as, is there an AI tool or solution that can help me solve a problem that I have? Then it's a better way to look into AI and to solutions, instead of just looking because it's cool and you have FOMO, right? You're like, oh, I don't want to miss out on something. Well, you're missing out on focusing on what really matters in your business, right? Because there will always be things that come and go like this. So that's how you don't get overwhelmed with AI, actually, is just look at it from a point of uh, solving a problem, accelerating a result,
Mm, I like
right? Automating a
I like
process.
that. It goes into the pleasure center of the brain, accelerating the results that you're going for. I like that way of
Yeah.
phrasing it and thinking about it. I think that'll help people. So, yeah, great stuff. Natalie, this has been an amazing conversation. You have dropped so many insights into this industry and how to make it function and make it great for people. Where can people go to find you, to get into your world and, maybe become a client?
Yeah. So my website is themembershiplab.com, right? And you can go to themembershiplab.com/gift, and you'll have some free resources there. And one is 4 AI strategies, to to boost your online program, for example. So if you're interested into AI, there is something like that. There is something for online courses as well, monthly recurring income. You can also find me on LinkedIn. If you can type my name, you can find me.
No, they won't have to do that. I'll put the link in the show notes so they
Yeah.
can just click. We're all about making it easy.
And yeah, and then on my website at the top there is AI solutions. So if you want to see some of the AI solutions we've implemented, there are screenshots and things like that. You can also go there. So
Awesome. One-stop shop.
yeah.
Well, again, guys, those links are going to be in the show notes below. So go over there, check out the site, see. I'm sure we didn't touch on probably even a quarter of Natalie's knowledge and what her and her team can do today. So go check it out if you're thinking about launching a membership site or a course. And Natalie, again, just thank you so much for coming on today. It was a real pleasure having you here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brian. And that was fun.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. All right, guys. Well, you know what to do. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, share this out with your network. You never know who in your network is an entrepreneur or is thinking about being an entrepreneur, and this might be the solution they're actually dreaming of. So it's a simple, free share, a way to improve someone's life. So do all the things, and peace. We'll see you in the next one.